we humans perceive the world very differently than our cats.
Mm.
So, a perfect example is if you have a cat who is peeing on your couch or peeing on your bed. So, when a cat chooses to pee not in a litter box and instead choose places that are elevated, like a couch or a bed, so she's not doing that to annoy you. She's not doing that out of revenge or spite or to teach you some type of a lesson. She's doing that because chances are something about her litter box feels unsafe. And if you think about a couch or a bed, these are elevated pieces of furniture. They provide safety for a cat because they can see all the way around them. There's a clear visual field. When they're on that couch or bed, they have plenty of visual warning time should an encroacher appear. And they have great potential for escape because it's really easy to hop off the couch or the bed and get away if there is some type of invader or opponent. And these invaders or opponents can be real or imagined. And that's important for people to remember. So we perceive our world when it comes to going to the bathroom with wanting privacy. But our cats want the complete opposite. They want a clear visual field. So when your cat is going on the bed or a couch, she's solving a problem as a cat. She's finding a safe place to go because maybe her litter box has a cover or is tucked tightly into a corner or is under something. And she feels like she can't see all the way around her. She feels like she couldn't escape if she needed to. So she's solving a problem of not feeling safe and secure in her litter box as a cat.
That's incredible. I didn't realize that cats needed to feel safe using the litter box until just recently because my two previous cats, this whole time I had one of those dome litter boxes. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this looks cool. You don't see the litter, but it wasn't the best thing for them because they probably didn't feel safe as coming out of the litter box. Like, what's
Well,
going on?
right. And some cats will still use a covered box. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, well, my cat uses the covered box, great. If you have a cat that's using it, don't change it. We don't need to create a problem. You're fine. But just like people, we all have very different levels of risk tolerance, right? Like some cats are afraid to go into a covered box or a litter robot or a litter box in the cabinet. And other cats, they're a little braver. They'll live on the edge. They're okay with it. It's just like with us. I would never go bungee jumping. I wouldn't even ride in a car without my seatbelt on. But people do. So we all have our levels of, risk tolerance and what we're willing to do or not do when it comes to our survival. We all have different levels of survival instincts, and our cats in the same way. So if you have a cat who has a very strong survival instinct and has a heightened fear of predators, that cat is not going to go into a covered box or a dome box or even a litter robot. I would say about 50% of people who buy those litter robots end up with it being unused. And I hate being the one to have to let that person know that after spending $800, chances are the cat is not going to go into that
Mm.
box. Yes.
Yeah. Let's stick with this litter box because it was one of the behavior issues that I know a lot of people see as we discuss, and something that I had on my sheet to ask you. I know the litter box issues could be really challenging for the human, right?
Yes.
Not knowing what's going on. Of course, now we've learned from you a little bit about what might be going on. But what are your best practices for ensuring cats use their litter box consistently?
So a plain, open, basic box is really the best.
Okay.
Something where, unless you have a specific reason, I would choose a box that doesn't have very high sides because, again, you don't want the cat to feel too close in. When you think about when the cat is in the position of peeing or pooping, they're lower in that box. So high sides could be scary for some cats. When the cat is in that, these are very technical terms here. When the cat is in that peeing or pooping position, it's the most vulnerable position for a cat. That's why safety is so important to them. So open box, low size, big enough that your cat can move around and dig in there. And then, the location. So you have this great box, but if you put it in a unsafe location, you're still going to have failure. So think about, again, that clear visual field. So if you put the box in a corner, we're thinking that's a corner, But to the cat, 2 out of the 4 visual fields are blocked.
Oh.
If you put the box underneath something, again, you're blocking a visual field. If you put the box in a cabinet or a closet, not only are you blocking 3 out of the 4 visual fields, but there's only one way in and out. So your cat knows that should she have to escape, the only means of escape is right into that opponent's face. So when you're choosing a litter box, choose something open, um, not too closed in terms of the height of the sides. And then location is just as important. Choose a place where there is a clear visual field. You're not up against walls, tucked into a corner, under a desk, in a cabinet. Some people like the litter box in an attic or a basement because it's out of the way. But, for some cats, that narrow staircase, again, one way up and down can be a harrowing journey. So just consider safety, clear visual field, ample visual warning time, and potential for escape.
Rachel, guilty because, or my hand here, my litter box is right there, and it's in a corner, and there's two of the sides
Yeah,
are there. They can't
they
go out that way, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if
Oh,
they're using it, again, if you have a cat that's okay with that, but if you
mhm.
have a cat who's not using the litter box, these are the places to look
Yeah,
first.
that's something really to consider. Never would have thought about the location.
I can't tell you how many of my clients solve a problem. Everybody hates cat pee. It's really smelly. I
Mhm.
get it. I completely understand. It's very hard to get that smell out. I've had clients where I've solved the problem. They were on the verge of surrendering a cat just by pulling the box out of a corner 8 inches.
Mm.
So just enough to sort of increase that feeling of security can often be enough.
Yeah. God, speaking of little bit of a tangent here. I see Facebook groups where cat related groups and where people are needing to rehome their cat because of behavior issues. And now that I know you and some other behavioral specialists, gosh, I think to myself, gosh, they just need to chat with you, and I bet you could really help them out. Gosh, so really thankful for the work that you're doing.